1, 2, 1, 2, 3, play.
1952 was the year in which I looked out my window, chewing gum while reading Henry Dumas's Ark of Bones. And there was a courtyard that people on Earth, already tired from a late night and the hypnotic monotone of stars, couldn't see. And they were angry and bewildered. Standing among the lilies in the courtyard was a fellow who pointed south to Alabama. His face was a mask, and he raged on and on about dates, places, names, culture in the United States, and the dead of history. The past, he said, was dead. He was both prophesying about children, old folks, winos, ants, snakes, and slugs, and about harmonic configuration. He was markedly down to earth. I was riveted. He was out there for hours, and I went down to join him. A lecture might begin with satirical history, and an occasional brief mention of his position on something he read or heard on the radio. Behold the vastness of music, a light for revelation and a sight of creativity, allness and the greater neverness. The composition in bells, ancient Egyptian gong, space harp, organ, solar bells, dragon drum, space flute, space, and changes on trumpet for verbal improvisation. He was drawn to the incredible. Though extraordinarily rooted with a sense of the cosmological, he observed, "Harmonious peace is music, so are silences, each silence, emptiness through which stars and celestial music discourse into interplanetary melody, drum, boom bam, like black folk into outer space blues." He appeared to think. We must not forget transposition, 12-bar blues and metaspirits, deep south in UFO experiences. May 22nd, 1914, for the MTV cameras on May 30th, 1993. Sun harp, Egyptian sun, and spaceships, thousands of them. Transposition always results in a whirling black folk today in science fiction. Chaos is music and cosmic philosophy. Music is light and darkness, the ultra dimensions of being. People who were milling about on the street ignored him. They didn't see nothing. A policeman with a hidden agenda shot something like bullets. "Leave the motherfucker alone!" I screamed, at the cost of being perceived slightly out of kilter. And suddenly, Salvador Dali came and offered his own brief interpretive mythological material in straightforward interplanetary harmony. Loneliness was a leitmotif. The fellow interrupted with the ardor of one who was the leader of the angelic choir. "Yeah, a spaceship coming on alto sax, spiral mellophone, space drum, and an ark which carries the bones of my father's 57 Chevy." He sung and hummed, and he would laugh at people on Earth, saying, "I had some relatives named that. I was living in Chicago at that time." In the future, and even as of now, we travel the whole experience. Black is space, passages and heavens, each spaceport a tangible spiritual community, levels of history, a tale, a story in which is a world all of its own, reimagined as music from the world tomorrow. His conversations and its metaphases, like a Frederick Douglass or even an interplanetary Marie Laveau, were richly layered and printed on my brain. The effect was strong indeed. I watched him begin to float overhead as he said, "Next stop is Jupiter." And as I waved goodbye, standing on a park bench among the lilies in the courtyard, he told me to warn Dumas to be careful.
This was the sound of a Gemini Titan rocket lifting off from its pad at Cape Kennedy. Gemini 3, 4, and 5, like clockwork, 60 days apart. Then 7 and 6 in a dual flight, all manned, all successful. It was probably the most dramatic sound of the year. But there was another sound, even more significant.
Let's start in B again. So that was a little...
Man alone in space.
Jimmy 4, Houston, Cap Cobb.
Hey, Gus, I don't know if you're ready, but we're right over Houston.
On June 3rd, Gemini 6 went into orbit.
Jimmy 4?
Aboard were Major Malcolm X and Major Nat King Cole. Command Pilot Malcolm X of Gemini 6 talks with the crewmen of sister ship Gemini 7 and ground controls as they accomplish the first rendezvous in space.
Gemini 7, this is Gemini 6. We have an object, looks like a satellite, going from north to south, probably in a polar orbit. He's in a very low trajectory, traveling from north to south, and has a very high fineness rate.
Nat King Cole
Radios that he's in contact with a mysterious flying object near his Gemini 6 in the cold December skies. For 9 months, 18 days, and nearly 13 hours.
There was a crusade, or roundup, for a better world. The streets in space are fairly broad and occasionally even lined with trees. There was player piano roll, checks cashed at a discount, protest marches of tall, decayed buildings.
Battery-powered toothbrushes and more trips to than ever before.
The island of Guam.
An old Negro woman,
Tiffany lampshade, narrow, littered streets, guitars, cheap wine for sale, old copies of Batman comics.
in the steaming, throbbing ghetto of
Space.
A better and a more stimulating place to live.
no man's land, or rather, a no white man's land.
But not in the eastern sense. At the Arthur discotheque in space, Scotch whiskey went for $1.70 an ounce.
Office boys investing in utilities.
Bach on hi-fi, garbage piled up in front of stores. There was a waiting list for Cadillacs.
Command post in a high school. Chilean nitrate, the controversial
Ruby Keeler musicals. And on this flight, for the first time,
rampaging mobs of Negroes
stepped out and floated in space.
Trying, probing, falling, resting, and trying again.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, put it apart. That's not in B. That's the A part. Let's see what you got here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But the American Marines there,
running wild through a 50-square-mile
Great society.
called Watts,
screaming their defiance, passed a bill ensuring Negroes the right to $4,600,000,000.
Well, thank you very much.
For the record, the trouble was caused by a relay in a Canadian power plant 4 miles north of Niagara Falls.
As a result of this,
The space race
is almost entirely Negro.
hurtling at 17,500 miles an hour above Watts.
we've got our complete confidence up.
The music was confident, loud, and assertive, and disquieting somehow, as though specially written to keep time with
The 140 million miles between us and both sexes dressed alike on the planet Mars.
The flight director says get back in.
This is Jim. Got any message for us?
Jimmy 4, get back in.
Okay.
There was nowhere else to go.
My malaria was homesick.
You don't go and burn down a house to get some rats out of it.
Well, I've taken a lot, but they're not very good. You're in too close for most of them.
Is our world gone? Is a new world coming?
I don't know. We're coming over to the west end. They want you to come back in now.
It is the excitement of becoming, always becoming.
Roger, we've been trying to talk to you for a while here.
And as it turned out, it was almost as hard to get
Negroes
him back.
outer space, solar myth. Intergalactic research, power of astro-infinity, solar hieroglyphics, nature immortality, solar science, solar nature, intergalactic research, humanitarian, transmolecular, American spirit, galactic cosmo, omniverse, cosmodron, blue universe, cosmic stellar, cosmo discipline, Disney Odyssey, space age, jet set, Atlantis Odyssey, astro solar, solar infinity space, year 2000, myth, science, astro intergalactic infinity, transgalactic astro infinity, omniverse, ultra 21st century, intergalactic myth, science, solar, altered destiny, 21st century, omniverse, astro infinity, micro ensemble, love, adventure, all-star invention, all-star originals, 21st century echoes, outer galactic discipline, intergalactic splendors of love, Chicago reminiscence.
Nothing to do with this planet. I'm just passing by. That's all.
Around the note is one where you got the tones going like that instead of this down. You hitting a flat note. But you got to hit around the note where it's see, and that instead of you see the notes are made round, therefore you got to hit a round note. Because if I've got it written down, it with a round note. Therefore play a round tone. If I want a flat tone, a diamond tone, I do like they do the church music. If you look in there, they got some diamond notes, they got some flat notes in church music. Never did it. The people who wrote that music wanted them to sing diamond notes and flat notes. They didn't have no round notes. And when they wrote that, in order to sing that church music, you must sing a diamond note and a flat. You look at the old church music, see if they don't have different. They got some round notes, they got some diamond notes, they got some flat notes. a difference then. The music goes over into something far beyond what these musicians they know about. They just do the round notes. But there are flat notes, and there are diamond-shaped notes, and there are clover-shaped notes, all kind of shaped notes. That's when I'm dealing with sound sculpture now, shaped notes. But it ain't nothing new. It's what musicians haven't been taught. They haven't been taught the full scale of music. They got all these instruments, but they don't know nothing about no music. Nowhere on the planet. That nobody else in the universe got. It doesn't take but one man to have it. And then you'll be part of the greater universe. Until then, you can't be part of it because you have nothing to offer. But you know you got a hard job. To come up with something he did not create is practically impossible. But that's what you must do to keep from dying on this planet. And if you got some people on here trying to do something different, do everything you can to help them. Because your life depends on it. If you can't do it, then you can't do it. But if there's any kind of way that any man doing something different, help him all you can, because if he's successful, you will live forever. But if he's not, you're headed to the cemetery now.
So this is the wall of stars. Oh,
yeah.
What are these symbols doing up here?
Well, that should catch the sound. Ah! Oh yeah, different pitches bring about different response. Yeah.
So these are the stars.
Yeah.
Do they all glow at night?
You can't see anything but the stars. It looks like the night sky. All these stars, Betelgeuse, Bellatrix.
Betelgeuse. Okay, it's part of Orion. Yes.
And Rigel, Saif. One of my sons named Saif plays trombone. That's it. And Gaddafi's son, the one that stayed there and fought, was named Saif through the dark one. Because Saif is a faint star. And I guess they named him that.
Because he was dark.
Because he was dark. This is the lamb here. A lamb on his side as though slain. You can see a lamb laying slaughtered. He's laying on his side. He is Cancer.
I see.
And this is where Mars is right now causing all the problems.
Mars is causing the problem.
Yeah. You'll see it now with the economy.
I thought that the Saturn being in retrograde was the problem.
Saturn goes into retrograde several times a year.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. It is important if it's in the right place, but it's in Virgo now. So Saturn in retrograde has kicked up a lot of stuff. But see, I don't follow other people. I don't read books for my knowledge. When I was in China, I went over to the ancient museum and looked over there. I found out that they were using the African system. And so I already know that. So when I went down in the Ming Tomb north of Beijing, there's 7 stories you have to go down. All right? When we get down there, there's a door. The door to his tomb had some half spheres on it. Now most people would think they were just some kind of decoration. But I counted them with my hand. And there were 81 spheres on his door. And I know he was dealing with sphereology. See? Because when I got down there, those 81 spheres on the door divided by 256, which is the median pitch of the cosmos, will give you pi. The sphereology is the highest science of ancient time. Now I want to show you the Ankh there on the wall.
Yes.
On my window. There's a line between them. That's the female organ.
That's because the earth is changing. The earth is changing. The rhythms that the earth had, it don't have it no more. That's when the mud is sliding. That's when the houses are sliding down in the mud. And that's when you got all this stuff happening because the rhythms of the earth doing it. And musicians who are in tune with the earth are out of order now. Because since the rhythms have changed, and since the earth is using these rhythms to destroy things, all the musicians who are in tune with the earth are destructive. They're destructive. And you find them. They'd be playing them earth things back there in the past. Because why? Because the old order of the earth is no longer applicable to man today. 3, 4. not playing it right. You're playing the right note, but you don't hear what we're doing. You're out there by yourself. You're about a millionth of a billion off. Just that little bit. But I'm dealing with precision and distance. You can't, now the only way you can do it, you can't do it mentally. It can't be done, because I can't do it mentally. I didn't write it by my mind. I wrote it by my spirit. Spirit don't know nothing about no time. It's timeless. That's why there's none there, you see. But if you're thinking of the time factor like the rest of events, it don't work. They hitting that note a certain way they listen to what I'm doing now. They listen, and you're not listening. You don't hear them. You don't hear what they're doing. They're doing something on that note that you're not doing. You don't hear it. See? But that is correct. But I got them doing something else. And that is correct. But they're playing incorrect. That's what you don't hear. You have to listen very carefully what they're doing. You have to play it right with them. That is because of all the music on the planet, I get severely criticized by the agent of the creator if I'm not correct. Other musicians can get by with something I can't. Swenson, the director of the Toronto Symphony Band, came down and told to Chicago wanted to meet me. He said the band, the most perfect band, including all the symphony bands in the world. He'd never heard nothing that together. Except one thing. The trumpet player missed one note. Now that's what tickled me. And I said, what note? I wouldn't know where I am missing no note. We played the record, and when the trumpet player took like a sort of interlude in there, a solo thing, he said, right there, he made a half valve and he didn't intend to. Now, when it comes down to a point where somebody come all the way or something to tell me how perfect the band was, except the trumpet player missed one note, and he didn't miss the note, he played a half valve instead of the full, he said, right there. Now, that's the only flaw in the record, otherwise it's perfect. Now, then I'm up on a different critical situation than other people. Men are allowed to make mistakes. Humans are allowed to make mistakes. I'm not, although I'm in human form. That's why it's important to have musicians doing the way what they're supposed to according to our standards. When I say our, I'm not talking about man. I'm not talking about him. Because he's a series of errors, you know, and confusion, and death, and destruction. And he ain't nothing else yet. There's a possibility he can become something else. That's my job on the planet.